Pyro?
Also on an individual level. You said if a mass death with no suffering, alleviating all future suffering, could be viewed as a non-negative or even positive thing. And if that's not the case...
That is the case, but the point is what's the context of the argument? All right, is the argument that yeah, this is going to be on the ballot tomorrow or something? We know that's not going to fucking take place. And what's the substance of the counter argument is the real point here. To just say, ooh, that sounds ooey. We don't like that. It sounds ooey. That ooh, people would stop reproducing. And that's all you're doing. You're not making a fucking argument. You're not making some rational argument explaining why the human race must continue to occupy planet Earth, or why animals need to continue to occupy planet Earth, or why the life infestation needs to continue to occupy planet Earth. You're not making a rational argument.
Please clarify, because I don't remember a video where you said that, but you in conversation in Stickham have seemed to say that kind of thing to me. And I know you've definitely gone in this direction that where the logical conclusion of the objective value of suffering, or disvalue the objective negative value of suffering, because there is no way to get ahead of the game, so the game has to stop. And that's all she's going into.
She's not going into it. That would be fine. Let her have the balls to go into the gut of the fucking argument and make her argument. Explain how it's not a zero-sum game. Explain how the DNA knows what it's fucking goddamn doing. Explain how the infestation of cannibalistic life forms is somehow accomplishing something. Do those things and then make your argument. But until you put something on the other side of the goddamn argument besides a fucking swastika, you have done fucking nothing but slander the argument.
She's actually illustrating the academic arguments that support your side of things. Now,
Oh, please. Oh, that was an academic argument. He one paragraph where he says the words, pain isn't the same as pleasure. He doesn't explain the differences and the distinctions as I have, and all of that, so I don't see how this academic thing does one fucking bit of good. How exactly did this little quote from Poplar extend the argument or elucidate a goddamn thing? No, what I saw was a video where then she read a critique of Poplar by some scumbag we don't have the name of, some nameless asshole on some fucking website. Okay, let him come to me and argue this shit. Okay, and to tell me how there's no way this philosophy is this, blah, 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 all this evil crap, this mass euthanasia shit. Fuck you.
She doesn't agree with those arguments, so of course she talks about her own views on that. But other than that, she
didn't talk about her own views anywhere. She said the word, this I agree with. That's what she fucked. That was her own views, Pyro. Where was her own views in any of this criping tripe?
Be interpreted just as giving you supporting evidence. She hasn't mischaracterized you.
She hasn't provided any evidence. Calling mass euthanasia is mischaracterization of the argument. She didn't argue with how exactly the truth isn't exactly as Poplar stated it, that pleasure is different than pain, that one is derived through satisfaction of a contrived and idiotic addiction, or the other one is a fundamental staple of the existence of living things in the context of this Earth evolution.
You really do have a view that could be called negative utilitarianism, but it doesn't have to be. You could describe it the way you have. And I would not have been talking to you about it in such detail if you had come on and said, I'm a big Popper fan of this era of Popper, and here's what I think. That would not have been...
That's not the goddamn point. The point is I have no responsibility to defend Poplar, who I probably would, because I got nothing against the one paragraph I heard of him. But regardless, that's not my fucking obligation, okay? She's the one who made these associations. She's the one saying we're Buddhist and we're this and we're that and we're all this other fucking crap. All right? So fuck that bullshit.
Interesting to me, but the fact that it's actually your idea makes it more interesting, and the fact that it actually has been thought through with various, slightly different perspectives from your own. For example, I think you think it through as a cynic, and Popper more of a positivist.
Yeah, distinctions, irrelevant bullshit distinctions, okay? I mean, this has nothing to do with being a cynic to sit there and say, well, what are the values on this stupid planet? What is it made out of? What does the game produce? And what is the gasoline? What does it consume? What's the value that it consumes? And what's the value that it produces? And then you sit there and you quantify. And so, yeah, I've explained all there is to explain, okay, is that, yes, we are addicted. We have to step past our addiction and try to take some kind of realistic look at what's accomplished here. And the animals aren't accomplishing anything, and we're not fucking accomplishing anything. It's a futile fight against an insatiable desire that will not be satiated.
Not literally applying those, but just highly proper to it as a cynic. So, safer way to put that. So, I don't see what the problem is with illustrating that relation to the argument, or why you're...
Yeah, you don't see it. That's right, Pyro, because you're just not listening. You're not hearing the argument. And it's because it's to your advantage, because it does exactly what you want to do, which is to put back me into some sort of corner with your insinuations and your bullshit. That's why you don't see it.
So offended. I mean, these are ideas that you have, she's identified an intellectual...
She hasn't argued them. What do you mean? She's identified nothing. She read some asshole's critique, okay, that substantiated nothing, explained in no way how Jerry Falwell or In Mendham are any more dangerous than each other, or the guy over there. If we gave him ultimate power, we gave that guy ultimate power. She didn't explain any of that. She didn't explain how having a minimalist philosophy of take no risk, minimize suffering, reduce the losses, how that has in any way any kind of draconian feature any more than any other asshole philosophy on planet fucking Earth.
Co-traveler of yours, or at least in a particular part of his career, in a particular kind of interpretation, is co-traveling with you.
Well, who the fuck cares? Again, I don't care. It's not, if it was somebody I brought up, well, then let her fucking argue what I brought up, but you didn't do that.
What's the problem? Why? I don't even understand how you think it's a negative characterization of you, other than her disagreeing with it and making it an academic style.
It's not about the characterization of me, it's about the characterization of the fucking argument. She's implying that somehow negative utilitarianism or minimizing losses is something to fear.
Argument. I don't see how anything she said isn't a factor in the way you view those things. Where's the super negative part? Yeah, there's a slightly negative thing when you say that euthanasia is the...
Yeah, right. When you use words, and when you put words in other people's mouths, and that's a little bit negative, and that's a little bit slimy and rotten. Yeah, and when you imply that they're going to euthanize other things and other people.
Is the solution for suffering in general, but that's not what attributed to you. You sort of do believe that, especially so long as we realize that you don't want there to be suffering during it.
Well, I believe in democracy, Pyro, okay? I've made that fucking clear. So obviously what has to take place is the vast majority of people, I think it would require a supermajority, have to make these kinds of decisions. One of those 70-80% kind of majorities. Okay? But yeah, that's the standard. So, yeah, but I'm just saying that's not her argument. Her argument wasn't that, they're going to impose a supermajority democracy and then impose their will on the 20%. Well, that's what they are going to do, but that's not a bad fucking thing. It's a hell of a higher standard than you assholes are displaying when you decide to put these fucking kids on this rickety roller coaster called the future that you haven't prepared, that you didn't build, that you fucking gave them more and more debt to live on from the day they're fucking goddamn born. You didn't give them a world to live in. You didn't build a good world first. No, you took an irresponsible reproductive action first. And you're just fucking trying to rationalize that bullshit.
And you probably acknowledge that since maybe there is always suffering involved with that it might not be practical.
Yeah, exactly. I want the practical. You give me the argument, okay? Don't just give me this fucking swastika crap and this euthanasia. Give me a fucking counter argument explaining why life makes sense, why life is constructive, why life needs to continue. Make that rational argument.
Principle, it's still there. So what possible thing was attributed to you that you would react as though it's such a terrible mischaracterization? It seems like a fair fit, and it doesn't make your view...
Right, so implying that we, the nasty negative utilitarians, are going to sit there and euthanize everybody, that's a fair fit.
Look any worse, gives academic support for those that want such support.
There's no fucking... Again, academic support when she implied that the guy was a fucking Nazi? So I get support because she implied the guy who supports my philosophy, or I support his, is a Nazi. So that somehow does me some good. Fuck you.
For your view.
Alright, enough said. So anyway, again, go back to the original video on the Amendum channel, find one tiny piece that you think you can touch, you can destroy, and go ahead and have at it, assholes. Alright, make a real argument defending life on Earth. A real argument. Not this Pollyanna tripe. That's it.